Discipline is the path to freedom. Discipline is not something to fear. It is not punishment, and it is not harsh control. Discipline is an act of love. It is the loving decision to care for yourself in ways that support your growth, your peace, and your joy. When you understand discipline this way, it no longer feels heavy. It becomes freeing. True freedom begins inside. It begins when you stop feeling pulled in 100 different directions and start listening to your inner wisdom. Discipline helps you hear that quiet voice within, the voice that knows what nourishes you, what heals you, and what allows you to thrive. When you follow that voice with consistency, your life begins to feel calmer and more aligned. Every time you choose discipline, you are saying to yourself, I matter. You are choosing to honor your time, your energy, and your well-being. You are no longer reacting to old habits or emotional patterns. You are responding with awareness. This is freedom, the freedom to choose from love instead of fear. Discipline does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. It invites you to gently return to your intentions whenever you drift away. There is no shame in beginning again. Each moment offers a new opportunity to choose supportive thoughts, healthy actions, and peaceful routines. Discipline is simply the practice of returning to yourself. When your days have gentle structure, your mind can rest. When you keep small promises to yourself, your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust creates freedom, freedom from self-doubt, guilt, from the belief that you are not enough. Discipline replaces those beliefs with self-respect. As you practice discipline with kindness, you release resistance. You no longer feel forced. Instead, you feel guided. You move through your life with greater ease because your choices are aligned with who you truly are. Discipline clears the path so your natural joy can flow. Freedom does not come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from embracing yourself fully. Discipline supports your body, your thoughts, and your emotions. It creates balance. It allows you to move forward without struggle. It reminds you that caring for yourself is not selfish. It is essential. With discipline, your life becomes simpler. You let go of excess, distraction, and inner conflict. You make space for peace. You make space for healing. And in that space, freedom naturally arises. So today, choose discipline as a friend. Choose it as a daily act of self-love. Trust that every small, loving choice you make is guiding you toward a freer, more peaceful life. Discipline is not limiting you. Discipline is leading you home, to balance, to confidence, and to freedom. Discipline is often mistaken for harshness, denial, or control. But in truth, discipline is one of the most sincere expressions of self-love. When you choose discipline, you are not punishing yourself or forcing yourself into rigid rules. You are choosing to care for yourself in ways that protect your energy, support your growth, and honor your long-term well-being. Discipline is love, made visible through action. Self-love is not lie about kind words or comforting thoughts. While those are important, self-love must also show up in daily behavior. Discipline is what transforms intention into reality. When you wake up on time, nourish your body, manage your time with care, or step away from habits that drain you, you are practicing love for yourself. You are saying through action that your health, peace, and future matter. Discipline requires awareness. It asks you to pause and notice what truly supports you instead of what only provides temporary comfort. Many choices feel good in the moment, but leave you depleted later. Discipline helps you look beyond the immediate feeling and choose what will serve you in the long run. This is not restriction, it is wisdom. It is the kind of care that protects you from unnecessary struggle. Each disciplined choice builds a relationship of trust with yourself. When you follow through on what you promise yourself, even in small ways, you strengthen your inner confidence. You begin to believe in your own reliability. This trust creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is a powerful form of self-love. It allows you to move through life with less doubt and more self-respect. Discipline also brings stability. In a world filled with distractions, pressure, and constant change, routines provide grounding. Simple, consistent habits create a sense of order that calms the nervous system. When your life has structure, your mind can rest. You no longer waste energy deciding what to do next or feeling overwhelmed by chaos. Discipline becomes a source of peace rather than pressure. Choosing discipline means setting boundaries, and boundaries are an essential part of self-love. When you protect your time, your energy, and your emotional space, you affirm your worth. Discipline allows you to say no to what drains you so you can say yes to what nourishes you. It helps you recognize that not every opportunity deserves your attention, and not every demand deserves your response. Discipline also supports emotional growth. When you commit to healthy routines, you learn to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. You discover that uncomfortable moments do not harm you. They strengthen you. Discipline teaches patience, resilience, and self-compassion. It reminds you that growth is not always comfortable, but it is always meaningful. Self-love through disciple. Does not require perfection. It does not demand that you never fail or never rest. True discipline is flexible and forgiving. It allows room for learning and adjustment. When you fall off track, discipline gently guides you back without shame. This kindness is what makes discipline sustainable. Harshness leads to burnout, but compassionate discipline leads to lasting change. As discipline becomes part of your life, your self-image begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone who lacks control or consistency. You begin to identify as someone who shows up, who follows through, and who values themselves enough to make supportive choices. This change in identity is deeply empowering and rooted in self-love. Discipline strengthens the connection between your present self and you, our future self. Each responsible choice is a gift to the person you are becoming. Whether it is choosing rest, movement, learning, or focus, you are investing in a future that feels safer, stronger, and more fulfilling. Self-love is not only about caring for who you are today, but also honoring who you are becoming. Over time, disciplined living reduces inner conflict. You are no longer torn between what you know is good for you and what you actually do. Alignment replaces guilt. Clarity replaces confusion. This inner harmony is one of the greatest rewards of discipline, and it is born from consistent self-respect. When discipline is rooted in love, it feels supportive rather than controlling. It becomes a steady companion, guiding you toward balance, confidence, and growth. Every discipline, action, no matter how small, reinforces the truth that you deserve a life built on care, intention, and self-belief. Discipline, practiced with compassion, becomes self-love in its most powerful and practical form. Discipline has a quiet power. It does not announce itself loudly, yet it transforms the way the mind experiences life. When discipline becomes part of your daily rhythm, it creates an inner environment of calm and clarity. Instead of feeling pulled in many directions, you begin to feel centered. Structure in your life gives your mind a sense of safety, and from that safety, peace naturally emerges. A mind without structure often feels restless. Thoughts compete for attention. Tasks remain unfinished, and priorities become blurred. This mental clutter creates tension even when nothing visibly wrong is happening. Discipline gently organizes your inner world. It provides direction, helping your mind know where to focus and when to rest. With clear routines and intentional habits, mental noise begins to quiet down. Discipline removes the constant need to decide. When you lack structure, every small action requires mental effort. You wonder when to work, when to rest, and what to focus on next. This decision fatigue drains energy and creates anxiety. Discipline simplifies life by reducing unnecessary choices. When you know what needs to be done and when, your mind can relax and function more efficiently. As discipline becomes consistent, confusion is replaced with focus. You are no longer scattered across many unfinished goals. Instead, your attention becomes steady. Focus allows you to engage fully with the present moment, whether you are working, learning, or resting. This presence brings calm because your mind is no longer jumping between worries and distractions. Discipline also helps regulate emotions. When your days lack structure, emotions tend to control your actions. You work only when you feel motivated and rest only when exhaustion forces you to stop. Discipline brings balance by creating supportive patterns that do not depend on mood. This emotional steadiness creates a deep sense of inner calm because you are no longer ruled by momentary feelings. Clarity grows when your actions align with your intentions. Discipline bridges the gap between what you want and what you do. This alignment removes inner conflict. You no longer carry the weight of guilt from procrastination or regret from neglected responsibilities. Instead, you experience a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are moving in the right direction. Structure also helps you manage time with awareness. When time feels unorganized, life feels rushed and overwhelming. Discipline allows you to plan, prioritize, and pace yourself. You gain the freedom to move through your day without urgency. This sense of control creates calm because your life no longer feels like it is happening to you. You are actively shaping it. Discipline supports mental clarity by creating boundaries. When you define limits around your time, energy, and attention, your mind becomes less overstimulated. You learn when to say no, when to pause, and when to focus deeply. These boundaries protect your mental space, allowing clarity to flourish without constant interruption. With discipline, confidence grows naturally. Each completed task reinforces your belief in yourself. This self-trust quiets self-doubt and reduces overthinking. You begin to approach challenges with calm assurance rather than anxiety. Confidence, rooted in discipline, allows you to move forward with say instead of fear. Inner calm does not mean a life without challenges. It means having the mental stability to face challenges without panic. Discipline prepares your mind for uncertainty by strengthening focus and resilience. When difficulties arise, your structured habits provide grounding. You know how to respond instead of react, and this measured response preserves peace as discipline continues to shape your life. Your thoughts become clearer and more intentional. You begin to see situations as they are, not as overwhelming threats. This clarity allows you to make better decisions, communicate more effectively, and navigate life with grace. Discipline is not rigid or harsh. It is supportive and grounding. It offers the mind a framework within which it can function calmly and clear. Through consistent structure, discipline reduces mental chaos and replaces it with focus, balance, and inner peace. When your mind is calm and clear, life feels lighter, more manageable, and deeply aligned with who you are. Discipline is not only about productivity or achievement. It is deeply connected to the relationship you have with yourself. One of the most powerful outcomes of disciple
is trust.
When you practice discipline consistently, you begin to build a quiet but unshakable belief in your own reliability. This self-trust becomes the foundation for confidence, courage, and freedom in the way you move through life. Self-trust does not appear suddenly. It is built through repeated experiences of keeping your word to yourself. Every small promise you honor, waking up when why, planned, completing a task you committed to, taking time to care for your health, sends a message to your mind that you can be depended on. Discipline turns intentions into actions, and actions are what shape belief. When promises to yourself are repeatedly broken, self-doubt grows. You may start questioning your ability to follow through or make decisions. Over time, this doubt can become a silent voice that holds you back from opportunities and growth. Discipline interrupts this cycle. By choosing to show up consistently, even in small ways, you begin to repair that inner relationship and rebuild trust. SMA. Promises matter more than grand goals. Discipline teaches you to start with what is manageable and realistic. When you choose goals that align with your current capacity and honor them daily, you experience success. These small successes accumulate, creating momentum. Gradually, your confidence strengthens because your mind recognizes a pattern of follow-through. As self-trust grows, hesitatio, fades. When you believe in your ability to act, you stop overthinking every decision. You no longer wait for perfect conditions or external approval. Discipline trains you to move forward despite uncertainty. This willingness to act reduces fear because action itself builds clarity and confidence. Discipline also helps you develop emotional reliability. You learn to remain steady even when motivation fluctuates. Instead of being controlled by mood, discipline allows you to act from commitment. This emotional stability reinforces self-trust because you know you will not abandon yourself when things feel uncomfortable. Trusting yourself creates freedom. When you no longer doubt your ability to follow through, you feel safe making choices. You take responsibility for your life without failure. Of failure. Discipline empowers you to make decisions based on intention rather than avoidance, freeing you from hesitation and self-sabotage. Discipline also changes how you speak to yourself. As self-trust increases, inner criticism softens. You replace judgment with encouragement. This supportive inner dialogue strengthens confidence and reduces fear. You begin to see challenges as opportune. It is to grow rather than threats to your worth. Through discipline, you learn patience with yourself. Growth becomes a process rather than a race. You understand that progress happens through consistency, not perfection. This understanding deepens self-trust because you stop expecting unrealistic standards from yourself. Instead, you trust the process and your ability to stay committed to it. Self-trust allows you to take healthy risks. When you believe in your resilience, you are less afraid of mistakes. Discipline reassures you that even if things do not go as planned, you will respond with responsibility and care. This belief reduces fear and expands your willingness to step beyond your comfort zone. Over time, discipline shapes your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who is dependable and capable. This identity shift removes the need for constant validation. You trust your judgment, your effort, and your growth. Discipline becomes a source of inner security. As self-trust strengthens, life feels lighter. You move with clarity instead of doubt, intention instead of fear. Discipline supports you quietly, reinforcing the belief that you can handle what lies ahead. Through consistent commitment to yourself, discipline builds a strong inner foundation that allows you to act freely, confidently, and without hesitation. Discipline has the power to break cycles that once felt impossible to escape. Many people live their lives repeating the same behaviors, reacting to the same triggers, and making the same choices even when those choices no longer serve them. These patterns form quietly over time and begin to feel automatic. Discipline interrupts this automatic living and creates space for conscious choice. In that space, freedom begins. Old patterns often develop as coping mechanisms. They may have once offered comfort, safety, or relief. Over time, however, they can turn into limitations. Habits such as procrastination, avoidance, emotional eating, constant distraction, or self-criticism can take control without conscious awareness. Discipline brings these patterns into the light. It encourages you to pause, observe, and respond intentionally rather than react unconsciously. When you practice discipline, you stop being driven by momentary moods. Emotions are important, but when they control behavior, they can lead to inconsistency and regret. Discipline allows you to acknowledge how you feel without letting feelings dictate your actions. You learn that discomfort does not require escape and that calm does not require avoidance. This emotional awareness restores balance and stability. Discipline strengthens the gap between impulse and action. This gap is where freedom lives. Without discipline, impulses lead behavior. With discipline, you gain the ability to choose. Even a brief pause before acting creates awareness. That awareness allows you to decide whether a behavior aligns with your values or simply repeats an old cycle. Distractions are another powerful pattern that discipline helps dissolve. In a world full of constant stimulation, it is easy to lose focus and direction. Distractions offer instant relief but often steal time, energy, and clarity. Discipline helps you reclaim your attention. By choosing focus over distraction, you regain control of your life experience. Attention becomes intentional rather than scattered. Breaking old patterns requires consistency, not force. Discipline does not demand sudden transformation. It invites small, steady shifts. Each time you choose a supportive habit instead of an old behavior, you weaken the grip of the past. Over time, these choices compound, and what once felt automatic begins to feel optional. Discipline also reshapes identity. When you repeatedly choose conscious action, you stop identifying with limiting patterns. You no longer see yourself as someone who always reacts, avoids, or procrastinates. Instead, you begin to see yourself as someone capable of change and growth. This shift in self-perception is deeply freeing. Awareness is the foundation of discipline. You cannot change what you do not notice. Discipline encourages reflection, self-observation, and honesty. Through awareness, You recognize patterns without judgment. This compassionate observation allows change to occur naturally without inner resistance or shame. As discipline becomes part of your daily life, you experience greater freedom of choice. You are no longer trapped by habits formed in the past or by emotional reactions shaped by old experiences. You become present. Presence allows you to choose responses that reflect who you are now, not who you once were. Discipline does not eliminate desire or emotion, it integrates them. You learn to honor your needs without surrendering control. This balance creates empowerment. You are no longer suppressing yourself or indulging unconsciously. You are choosing intentionally. With each conscious choice, limitations dissolve. Fear loses its hold. Doubt softens. You realize that change is possible because you are no longer living on autopilot. Discipline provides the structure needed to support new ways of being. Structure creates safety, and safety allows growth. Freedom does not come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from understanding your patterns and choosing differently. Discipline offers that understanding. It helps you step out of repetition and into awareness. Through disciplined living, you reclaim ownership of your actions, your thoughts, and your direction. As old patterns release their grip, space opens for new possibilities. Creativity, confidence, and peace naturally emerge. Discipline does not confine you, it liberates you. By choosing consciously, moment by moment, discipline frees you from limitations and guides you toward lasting freedom. In the end, discipline is not about control or restriction, it is about liberation. When you choose discipline, you step out of unconscious repetition and into awareness. You no longer allow old habits, passing moods, or constant distractions to decide the course of your life. Instead, you choose with intention and clarity. Through this conscious living, limitations loosen their grip, confidence grows, and freedom becomes lasting rather than temporary. Discipline gives you the power to live from choice instead of habit, and in that power, true freedom is found.